So I'm honestly very impressed by the Jags this year. They've become an interesting soap opera, which I've never seen a Jags team be in my life. But Trevor Lawrence, the young at the coach, and I keep thinking that they're bad and they're going to lose games, but they're 2-1, and they look impressive. So for the Jags, I've been very important for them to get this win at home against a Texans team that was reeling. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought that C.J. Stroud, D'Amico Ryan and Texans would win that game. But I remember watching them lose to the Jags at some point last year. Maybe the Texans were at home, but I remember them losing to the Jags or really struggling playing them close when the Jags weren't good and we thought that the Texans were like a super team. And one thing I got to say about the Jags right now, one of the reasons they match up so well with the Texans is Josh Hines Allen. And I'm going to call him Hines Allen. But Josh Allen, he goes out there. He just was dominating 79, just cooking them. Bro was a turnstile. And he impacted the game. He got a sack on C.J. Stroud. He hit C.J. Stroud's arm on a late interception. They held them to 10 points off of that. It was just all around like an impressive performance from this defense. I mean, they were flying around making plays. They forced that fumble on Nico Collins. That was huge. Got the interceptions. I mean, the Jags are just they're a good. I don't know if they're good. I'm not gonna fucking lie to you. I don't know if the Jags are a good team. I feel like at times Trevor Lawrence finally a little bit more. He's like chilling, and then it just ratchets up, and then all of a sudden it's nonsense again. Like you have Brian Thomas dropping passes. That's a huge storyline right now because people were saying he doesn't like to go across the middle, and I think part of the reason in week 2, Trevor Lawrence was throwing some hospital balls. Like he was throwing some shit that could get you fucking hit in the head out there. So he's like, whoa, and the Bengals, they were flying a little bit, and he's like, nah, I'm not trying to like run into this collision, which it's football, you shouldn't think like that, but I mean, whatever. Don't lead your small receiver into collisions. And even though they can't hit you like they normally can, it became a thing, right, with him dropping passes. Liam Coen yelling at Trevor Lawrence on the sideline. Them losing to the Bengals, it was like, all right, this team's all right. They had a nice little win against the Panthers, where they coming apart, and they fought back and they beat the Texans. Now the Texans, do the Texans stink? I mean, they're 0-3, so possibly. But you got to be able to exploit what they couldn't do, and the Jags held them to a season low total. They stopped C.J. Stroud at the end of the game. They got the interceptions. They forced the fumbles. They were hitting them. The Texans weren't moving. And C.J. Stroud threw 2 picks. Trevor Lawrence only threw 1. Now, he did throw the 1. He's going to do some goofy stuff. I also thought, too, this was impressive because unlike the Panthers game that they won, ETN really didn't get off too crazy. But ETN and Tutin, they're a nice 1-2 combo. Both of them had a rushing touchdown. And ETN, 55 yards on 16 carries. Not crazy, obviously, not 150 or whatever. 150, I think that's what he had against the Panthers. But still a solid performance. I mean, they were cool, and that defense won them the game. Now, I still think big problems obviously remain with Trevor Lawrence. In my opinion, I don't think he's like that guy, but he won the game. And we've seen him before. He's won a playoff game. It's not impossible for him to do. Even though I think he's kind of goofy and a little silly. They're 2-1. Because he's kind of not being goofy and silly right now. He's yelling at people. I'm yelling at the coach. You know what I mean? Coach yelling at him, hit him in the chest. He's like, all right. And then he's like, I just hit him in the chest. And he dropped it. And he did drop it. Next week, though, they play the 49ers. This schedule gets really tough and really ratcheted up. 49ers, the next 4. Crazy. 49ers, Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams. So we're going to find out a lot about the Jags very soon because they're playing very other physical defenses. So we'll see. Those all look like they could be very low scoring affairs. Take the unders. Take the unders on some of these. But them versus the 49ers this week, that's very intriguing to say the least. Got my spreads. I think I put my spreads away. But them versus the 49ers, I mean, they're both great defenses. They're very good right now. I guess we can't call the Jags great. They let up that Bengals game. That Bengals game just sticks out. But there's no Nick Bosa, you know what I mean? But they kind of look fine. They looked fine without him in the second. Now, obviously, I know he's a important player, but they looked still effective against the Cardinals without him. It's interesting. Now, if they win this game, they're just a really good team. I think the 49ers are a good team. I think the 49ers have an experienced coach, Kyle Shanahan, who should be able to handle the Jags in totality. But the 49ers are also very beat up. Their back quarterback is in. The only guy really there is McCaffrey and Pearsall. Pearsall's doing his thing as well. They have a new kicker, Eddie Panera Bread, so that's cool. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm expecting obviously low scoring, and again for Trevor, he's kind of done it early this season. They've won some of these games, but he's being a little goofy with the football. Mac Jones hasn't done that yet. So I'm interested to see what happens, and I do think Mac Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence, even though Mac Jones was just Trevor Lawrence's backup. Obviously, I think with the Shanahan system, he's better. And Mac Jones was able to hit Brian Thomas on those deep balls last year that I don't know if they're not calling them or if he's not throwing it, but Thomas was snapping last year, and so far this year, not much, more of a dud because Trevor isn't as accurate. And Mac to Pearsall right now looks crazy. Way better than any connection Trevor has with anyone on their team. And it's only been 2 games, and it's only been him being there for 2 games. So very interested. Solid win though, Jags. You're not ass. You're not complete ass. You might be decent. And for first-year coach Liam Coen, that's cool. You kind of need to be decent because you traded your future first. So if you were bad, this would be a really bad situation. But if you trade, a mid of the pack first, not as destructive. Travis Hunter, by the way, saw him 1 catch. He's third in their team today in tackles with 4 tackles, so he's playing a lot of defense. Hey, look, the defense was defensing. So if that's why you got him and he's out there making an impact, he's tackling people, I like it. I like putting him on defense. So we'll see what happens with the Jags going forward, playing a huge game, playing against their old backup quarterback, Mac Jones. I'm excited to see what happens in that game. See if we can get some more answers on Jacksonville.